96% negative today, and the day before it was 87% negative. 2 weeks ago, I said this. So whenever it comes to snap back to one, you're just going to piss off half your player base. It doesn't matter which one wins, right? Because the PT guys want it to be hardcore, apparently, and the vanilla guys want it to be arcade, allegedly, right? And so when you put them together, well, you might piss off everybody. So that was awfully prescient, wasn't it? Essentially, what happened was Broken Arrow split into two versions. You can see that in this video, but I'm just explaining it to you now. And they said that they would keep the public test environment, the PTE, as a hardcore version and the vanilla version as an arcade version. And that was received absolutely terribly. Everybody said you can't just have two separate versions of the game running forever, so you got to bring them back together. But of course, I wasn't the only one to make this point. It's pretty obvious. When you bring it back together after having spent so long apart, the people who liked the PTE will not be happy, and the people who liked vanilla won't be happy with any changes, right? So that's exactly what's happened. They've just upset everybody, apart from, the 4%, apparently. So, yeah, just negative review after negative review after negative review. If you want to see all the changes from the patch, I read them all out here. It took an hour. Honestly, I recommend this video by N7 Shark. So he doesn't read out the patch notes, so there are some things which you won't get, right? You won't get the numbers, but he shows you how it changes the actual gameplay, right? It's a very high effort video. So I recommend watching this one. Honestly, I feel like I wasted my time doing this. But not this, that. Anyway, so yeah, I recommend watching this. You'll probably learn a lot more about the sneak recon tanks, etc. But yeah, if you want every single change, I guess this one would be better. So yeah, essentially the PTE had a bunch of changes, and when they brought them to vanilla, they only brought some of the changes, but also some of the changes they brought, they had other changes with them, like they didn't bring them over from the PTE exactly right. So, for example, IFVs, let's just get that lovely chart back up. IFVs in the PTE carried their own supply, so if your soldiers were damaged after a combat, you could just put them in the IFV and it would supply them. But that would run out because obviously it'd be dumb if it was infinite. But in the live version, they just made it infinite but slower. I don't know if it is slower, but it's definitely infinite. It's slower than using a supply box. I just don't know if it's slower than it was in the PT. So now you have infinite supply from your infantry transports, which is a bit silly. And there's a lot of other changes like that where they brought over a change from the PTE and just changed it without any testing, which makes you think, well, what was the point of the PTE if it wasn't to test these changes, right? And it's led to people asking some interesting questions, right? So essentially, the Russian player base puts this all at the foot of one guy. So Steel Baklava is a almost entirely Russian studio, but one of the co-founders worked on Wargame Red Dragon. If you don't know the deepest lore, right, the game I always yap on about, Warno, it's made by a company called Eugene Systems. And this guy, Flix, FLX, was a developer, so he's French, right, for Eugene Systems. And I'm pretty sure he worked on Red Dragon. He definitely worked on Steel Division 1, because Steel Division 1 is so much like Broken Arrow in terms of you don't get any units and nothing dies. It's very, very similar in that regard. Uh, and the studio learned their lesson and made Steel Division 2 completely different. Can you believe it? Yeah. Anyway, so he worked for that company, and these guys, Steel Baklava, were a Wargame Red Dragon pro team. So they were like a pub stomping stack in Wargame Red Dragon that would just go around stomping pubs, right? And they wanted to make their own game. And I think that's a very laudable idea. I've got a lot of respect for people who do that. I've got my own game on Steam, and I can tell you it wasn't easy. It took a very long time 35% positive and 4% positive today. Well, Hers Hero is 92% positive.
I am a good person.
I'm a good person. So yeah, it's hard making your own games, I gotta tell you, and certainly Broken Arrow is a much bigger game than Hearst Hero. Uh, but anyway, the Russian guys basically say our Russian studio is perfect, and it's just this French bloke who's just ruining everything. Now, when they first started saying this, I was like, "Come on, this is just nationalism, basically." You don't want to blame your fellow man, but it's starting to feel more like that as time goes on. That I wouldn't say it's all Flix's fault, but there's definitely some tensions between some of the guys in the studio and Flix because, well, they want to. I mean, I sum this up, right? So, maybe this is projection and this isn't what's happening at all. But it's becoming more and more obvious that there's something going on inside the studio, that there's clearly some infighting somewhere, right? Some serious disagreements. So this guy isn't some random employee. He's a co-owner of the studio, so it's not like they can just get rid of him. He owns part of the studio. But yeah, so, the game designer, Flix, it's his job to design the game, right? He has his vision. I lost my screen. Yeah, crazy notes here. Yeah. Anyway, he has his vision, and he wants to do things the way he wants to do them, right? And then, okay, so you want to do your own thing? Well, I think I'm right, so why don't you go make your own branch and make your own game? And certainly, the guys who were most involved in the PTE were not Flix, right? I barely saw him in there. It was a bunch of other guys doing it, right? A bunch of other devs working on the PTE. So some sort of faction within the dev team, right? And then a lot of the changes were very popular in the PT, but when they were brought into live, they went through the Luigi filter and they got changed completely in some cases. And now nobody's happy because why would they be? The guys who liked vanilla already are obviously, they're not going to like any change if they already liked vanilla. And the guys who like the PTE, they're not going to be happy because the changes from the PTE were changed before they were added to vanilla. So this was a completely predictable situation. I'm not some kind of genius. I'm very stupid, and I could tell what was happening, as could everybody else. But here it is, and now they've made their bed and they have to lie in it. So 4% positive today. The only question is, will they get all these reviews removed from the score? Because that's what they did over here when they received 2,800 negative reviews from mainly the Chinese community. What happened was there was a Russian streamer streaming a game. He got beaten by a Chinese stack, and it was like a Chinese streamer. They stream on different platforms, but he was famous within the Chinese community. And the Chinese guys cheesed him, and he got mad, and then, not very long afterwards, the Chinese team all got banned. And basically, the idea is he just phoned up his mates on the dev team and just like, hey, they're cheating. Obviously, the dev team denies that. He denies that. I don't know, man. But anyway, the Chinese guys spazzed out and review bombed the game. So yeah, the reason this asterisk is here is because it's just been removed from the review score, right? So the question is, will they do that here? I've seen dev teams do it before. This you could argue is an off-topic review bomb, but it wasn't really because it was about the way cheaters were handled in the game, so it was very prescient. There's still lots of cheaters in this game, but basically, most cheaters weren't getting banned, and those that, it was basically if you had a direct line to the devs, you could get people banned. And frankly, there's still a lot of cheaters around who get banned, an hour after a post blows up on the subreddit showing them cheating. So that's basically still happening. I guess they just check bear now before they ban them. And that was declared off topic, right? And this, I've seen dev teams do this before. They push an update, people don't like the update, and they say it's a review bomb, and they just Thanos snap, all the reviews disappear. So we'll see if they do it again, because as it stands, I don't know what can happen now to make people like this game again, because they've pissed off everybody All the PTE guys are upset because they were like, I liked the PTE and now it's gone. All the vanilla guys are upset because I liked vanilla and now it's, gone. And yeah, nobody's happy. Well, okay, 4% of people are happy. So I don't know what else to say. We just have to see how it plays out. This was so obvious that this was going to happen. Everybody said it. Everybody said it, and then they still just walked off the cliff. I don't know. I'll see you around.